Welcome to lesson number 6. It is time to tear down some pedestals. I hope you guys are learning a lot. I hope that you learned a lot with lesson number 5 and are ready to move forward and take some people down off of a perch that they don't belong. And we're going to find out exactly why that is a very dangerous thing to do and what that can actually open you up to. So let's tear down some pedestals, shall we? Putting others up on a pedestal is a surefire way to put your confidence plant at risk. Pedestal thinking opens you up to comparing yourself to others and feeling less than. It also puts you at risk for giving your power away. We've all done it. We start as children. We see friends that seem to have everything, or maybe they're just good at everything. It starts with seeing something we want to be or want to have, and the pedestal begins to form. We also do this with our parents. We assume as the adults in our lives that they are always right. I remember the first time I realized that my dad was actually a human who didn't know everything. I can actually remember where I was. I can't remember what he said, but I can remember the moment. And it's just funny because it had never crossed my mind up until that point. I thought, this man is always right. This man always knows the answer to everything. It didn't even enter into my mind that that wasn't a reality. And I was in my 20s when this happened. And I was standing outside in the garage. I don't remember what he said, but I can remember where I was. And he said something that I knew wasn't an adult thing to say. And it hit me in that moment that my view of him was distorted. I was still seeing him through the lens of childhood beliefs. And when what he said challenged a more mature belief, that lens was removed and I could see more truth. Everyone that you have on a pedestal, you are seeing through a distorted lens. You believe they are different, better, perfect, etc. We do this with spiritual leaders. We do this with celebrities. We do this with the people in our lives. So why exactly is this dangerous? Why is this a dangerous thing to do? We trust their opinion of us more than our own. Not just their opinion of us. We trust everything that they think, their judgments, their opinions, how they would do things, what they think you should do, all of it. We trust that more than we trust ourselves. We have not come to the place where we trust ourselves yet, so we have put all of our trust in what they say. This is what we call giving our power away. This is why you are in this class right now, because I want to help that stop. I want to make sure that if you are doing this and you are giving your power away and someone else is your caretaker, I want to take that power out of their hands and put it into your hands. And you may not want it. You may be scared of it. You would rather that they do it. But I'm about to explain to you why that is not a good idea. By putting them on a pedestal, we are giving them full access to our inner child. Anything they say or do or say to us will be believed by our inner child and not disputed by our caretaker, because basically we don't have one yet. We've not realized that we're the ones supposed to be doing the job, not someone else. This leaves the most precious part of us extremely exposed and vulnerable. They have the power, this other person that you've given the power to, they have the power to make you believe things about yourself or about life that are not true. And because they are on a pedestal and your caretaker is wearing a distorted lens, the caretaker will not question what they say or protect the child. This is not a good thing, okay? The caretaker will take their word as pure truth. The caretaker steps out of the way and allows this person to caretake their inner child or their mind. You are giving this person just straight, direct access to the most valuable, important part of you, your mind. They have it. dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Should I say it again? This is so incredibly dangerous. This is how cults are created. Now, I'm about to talk about this, and not everybody that you have on a pedestal has ill intentions. They're some of the sweetest people. That's why they're on a pedestal, because you love them and believe in them. But as you go through life, you will run into people who have selfish motives, who have control issues, who have minds who are very sick and who need help. Now, not all of these minds are just out there with the intention of, oh, I'm going to destroy lives. Oh, I'm going to hurt these people. Oh, I'm going to do this or that. They don't even think that they're doing that. They don't know that they're doing that. But their mind is so sick, it convinces them and justifies their behavior as okay, as they're supposed to do this, or they've been told by God to do this. They're not aware what they are doing. As Jesus said, they know not what they do. Some of them do know what they're doing. Some of them are not aware of what they're doing. But if you run into one of these sick minds and you have allowed them to become the caretaker of your mind, you are in trouble. Okay? So I want to help you not get here. This is so dangerous for your mental health. And the recovery from this is a hard one. It's hard, and you will think you are going crazy. But once you come out on the other side, you'll have a super strong mind. And you might can even pick up some bad habits that you learned from this mind that you were involved with. So we want to avoid it, okay? If you've not been through any experiences with a narcissist or with cults, or I hope you haven't, but if you've not experienced that type of mind at that strength and caliber, I want to help you prevent it so that you don't, so that you do not fall prey to what so many minds have fallen into. And I want to show you what makes you vulnerable and how to avoid that. Okay, so this is a little bit different kind of lesson today, and I'm not trying to put fear into you. I'm trying to educate you on minds and how they work and why it's so important to be the caretaker of your own mind and not give that power to someone else. So this is how cults are created. This is how you become entangled in toxic narcissist relationships. No one, I don't care how smart they are, how much you respect them or admire them, how great and amazing you think they are, or how great they've told you they are, no one should be allowed direct access to your inner child. Your inner child is your subconscious mind. It is the programmable part of your mind. And the subconscious mind, when we're children, it's even more programmable because we don't have, the caretaker is not developed yet, okay? It's not there to know to question things. It just takes everything. Think about a little kid. You could tell them, oh, you know what, when you wake up tomorrow, the sky's going to be green. And they would actually believe you. They wouldn't have any reference to doubt it, to question it. They don't have a caretaker yet. So you have direct access to children, which is why it's so important to be very careful what you say to kids. Be careful what kind of labels you give them or how you talk in front of them about them, because every single bit of it is just going straight into that very soft programmable part of their mind. Then as you get older, if you are nurtured, if you're in an environment where you can grow confidence, where you learn how to meet your own emotional needs, where your mind is supported, you will develop a caretaker. You may not know it, you may not use that language, but you will develop this part of your mind that starts to question things. And it might be like, I'm not so sure about that. Let me think about it for myself. You kind of learn how to think for yourself. But some minds have never got there. They're so wounded that they don't trust themselves at all. They always trust over other people over themselves. So if that is you, anybody, until I get you strong enough in your own space to be your own caretaker, anybody has the capability to sweep in, or swoop, whatever the word is. They have the ability to come in and tell you things, and you won't, if you like them, if you believe, you'll just believe it. And it may not be a belief that helps you or serves you. It may hurt you, but you won't know to question it. So I want to help protect you from that. So when using, I'm certified in hypnotherapy, so this is how that works. When using hypnosis for therapy, this is this subconscious inner child part of the mind. This is the part of the mind that must trust. We have to get to that part of your mind to do some reprogramming. Okay? And if you have a strong caretaker, we have to do a lot more work. This is a little harder to create trust with that strong caretaker, but once it trusts you to come near the inner child, which is good. It's good that you should have a strong caretaker. You shouldn't just believe anything that someone says. You shouldn't let anybody near your inner child unless you trust them. But that's how hypnosis works. You have to bypass that questioning, logical, protective part of the mind, and you have to go straight to the subconscious or the inner child. And once you give it the new program and it accepts it as truth, it's set. You're good. Now you can change behaviors. You can do a lot of good with this tool. But people can just like any tool, it can be used for bad or good. Just like a gun, you could go, if you're hungry, you could go kill food, or you could kill a person. Like it's just whoever is holding the tool and their intentions. So that's how it works. We have to bypass that, the conscious mind, the caretaker, and get to the subconscious mind. If you have not stepped into the role as caretaker or don't know how to do it, this becomes extremely easy. So I can always tell, like, if somebody's going to be a really good candidate for using hypnotherapy or not. Sometimes just by their health type, the shape of their body tells me a lot, how their mind thinks, how strong their caretaker is going to be. If it's a diplomat or even a guardian that walks through the door, or sometimes a crusade, like, forget it. Like, gonna be pretty dang difficult to get to that subconscious part of their mind because they're so protective of it. They're so they have so many defenses up, so many walls up. And that's not always a bad thing. I mean, that's you want to have a balance in that. You don't want to be so overboard with that. You want to find a nice balance, but you want to have a caretaker there that's going to be protective. Now, if it's a connector or an activator or someone more on they're more trusting, they're more believing. Activators not as much as a connector, because activators kind of have a suspicious mind. But a connector, easy. If you want to use hypnotherapy for helping you change beliefs, helping you work through your stuff, that would be a great tool for you, because you're trusting and your caretaker is just like, oh yeah, come on in, welcome. It's not like, okay, wait a minute, let me check you out first. Let me see what you're about to tell my mind. Let me, question a little bit. You just don't. So if you're working with a hypnotherapist that has good intentions, that's great. But if you're up against other people who may not have the best intentions, that can be very dangerous territory for you. So if the caretaker trusts or is not even on the job yet, meaning you haven't even developed a caretaker, then reprogramming is simple. So connectors, I just mentioned you, but I want you to really listen up now. You naturally have more of an open door to your inner child, meaning your caretaker is naturally more trusting and less questioning or suspicious of other minds. And I bet if you took a poll of men and women drawn into cults, you would find mostly connectors. I don't have scientific proof of that. I don't have any data whatsoever to back that up. I'm just going off of my own experience and what I know about the minds of a connector. You would also find any mind who has never felt loved and is incredibly desperate for it. So you could be any health type and also be easy to get to. If you are wounded and you're so desperate to feel loved, this makes you vulnerable and an easy target for tall growers with an agenda. They can see it in you easily. Easy. They can see that you're very, like that button is easily poked. You cry at the drop of the hat if they just mention something about it. You're vulnerable. All they need to do is give you what you've never received from your parents that you are so desperate for, and your inner child now belongs to them. They can do anything and say anything. Even when you know, now this, I want you to listen up if you have had an experience in a narcissistic relationship. Even when you know what you saw and you know it's wrong, they can convince you that you either didn't see it or you must have misunderstood what you saw, and you will believe it and accept what they say as truth. If you've been in this experience, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never been in this experience, you may have a hard time believing that that could happen. Trust me, it can happen. Your mind is putty in their hands. Have you ever interacted with someone and said, it's like I'm in some weird fog, or they have some weird spell on me? This person, if you've experienced that, again, if you've been there, you know it. It's a very odd feeling, and it's confusing, and you don't know why you're thinking how you're thinking. You don't even know how to put your own thoughts together. You're in a fog. This person has bypassed your own caretaker, the part that questions and protects, and it has direct access to your inner child. How did they do that? They saw an opening in you, a need, a weakness, and they met that need with the words you've been so hungry for. They made you feel the way you've been so desperate to feel. Your inner child then attached to them as if they were God and are all-knowing and can do no wrong. I'm going to say that again. They made you feel the way you've been so desperate to feel. Your inner child then attached to them as if they were God and are all-knowing and can do no wrong. If you have a strong caretaker and a strong inner relationship between caretaker and inner child built on trust, this will never happen to you again. Here's why. Because there will be no unmet need, no opening to come through, because your own caretaker is keeping the needs of its inner child met. Highlight that if you want to. This is why it's so important to have a caretaker who is taking care of your mind and your inner child. If you don't know about the caretaker, you don't know how to be a caretaker, take the Learn to Tidy and Relax Your Mind course, and it will teach you all about a caretaker and how to be it and the language that you need to use when you talk to yourself, when you talk to this inner child part of you. No one, and I mean no one, should be the caretaker of your inner child but you. I don't care who it is. Even the sweetest person who you know doesn't have ill motives or an agenda should not be allowed to be your caretaker. Your inner child should only look to you for having its needs met, not someone outside of you, not your husband, not your wife, not your preacher, not your therapist. You can let someone like me teach you how to be your own caretaker, but I should never be it. Meaning you can listen to what others say, hear them, then take what they say into consideration, and then decide if that belief serves you or doesn't serve you. Take the parts that are useful and helpful and leave the rest. Your caretaker should always be the final decision maker. Never allow a mind that belongs to another person to caretake your mind. Never. Meaning, I'm here giving you this information, but what you choose to let in to that impressionable part of your mind, what you choose to feed to that inner child, should come through you. You should decide what feels right to you, what doesn't. I can teach you about the caretaker. I can teach you how to be it, but you should never let your inner child trust me over your own self. Even if you don't know how to do it quite yet, and you realize that I do because I'm teaching it, it's okay to listen and learn from that. But what I'm saying is you should never put me or anybody else in that role. That's yours. That's your place. Even if you don't know how to do it yet. Even if you are the worst caretaker in the world. Even if you're still saying harsh, critical things to yourself. You never leave that spot. That's your spot. That's your power place. That's a very, very powerful place to stand when you are thinking for yourself, deciding for yourself. That is standing in your own power, in your own confidence, in your own strength. If you don't know how to do it yet, it's okay. But just keep standing there. Don't move over. Don't get out of the way and say, "Oh, come over here and do it for me." No. That is only your spot. This is also dangerous if you build a story around who you think someone is, what you think they would do or they would never do, and suddenly they do something that goes against the box you had them in. This can be a very painful experience. It can make you question everything that you've ever believed about them or ever experienced about them, and leave you wondering if you ever knew them at all. You knew the version you had created. You made them into what you wanted them to be to feel safe, but it wasn't the complete truth. The story is shattered. The truth is out. Resist the urge to put a new story together. Take the pedestal down. See them. See this person in front of you. All of them. Let them know it's safe to be the honest version of them. Don't try to put them back in the box you had built. That box is gone. Look at your own parts, your own humanness. Refuse to hide inside of mind-created stories. Get real with each other. Be honest with them and with yourself. Take the mask off. This is a very important part of every relationship, and we all do this. We all have this idea of how we think people are, how they think, the things they think about, what they should think about, what they shouldn't think about, what they would do, what they would never do. And the truth is, we can never fully know the mind of another person unless they have become so self-aware, meaning they know this mind stuff. They are a wonderful caretaker to their mind. They've worked through the stuff in their basement. They have become a safe space for themselves and for other people. Then and only then can you see the true them? Can you see the true version of them? If they're nowhere near to that, they don't even know who they are. They don't even know what all is in there. They don't know what they would do or what they wouldn't do. They don't know if pushed to a certain place what their mind might choose or might not choose. They might think they do. But if you've not been through that process, if you've not come to the place where you're able to express the purest form of you, to get to know the purest form of you, to love the purest form of you, to learn how to guide the purest form of you. If you're not to that point, and very, very, very few people are, you don't actually know the real them, and they don't actually know the real them. So basically everything that you know about them is a story that your mind has created, and they've probably helped you with that story. They might even like the story that you've made up for them, and they might support that, and they would say, yes, this is how I think, and this is what I don't think. So most of your story you may have actually gotten from them because of things that they've said and things who they say they are. But I'm telling you, you don't know. You don't know who, and I tell you the best way to know who a person is to be around them when they're squeezed. Meaning when things are going wrong, when they are in the middle of a challenge, when everything is not going their way, when life is hard, when they are being squeezed by life, that is when the most pure form can show itself. And the form that you see, if it's full of pain still, you'll see it. You'll see it come out through anger, through rage, through blaming, through name calling, through shaming. You see the truth of yourself and of other people when they're squeezed. And the place we want to get to is when we've done all of our work and we've cleared all of our stuff and we've expressed all of our anger and we've healed, we've gone through the boxes in the basement, and we've come to a place of unconditional love for ourselves. We've become the safe space for ourselves and other people. When life squeezes us, nothing really shocking comes out. That's how you know you handle it. It's like maybe you don't like it. It's okay that you have a what we call negative reaction, or you're angry for the moment, but it doesn't last long. You move on. You don't dwell on it. You handle it. You cope with it. Life goes on. That's how you know that you are reaching a point of healing, of maturity, of self-awareness, of safe space. That's how you know, is in those moments of being squeezed. So yeah, yep. So look at your own parts, your own humanness. And I tell you all this just because this is about avoiding those, not setting yourself up for pain if we can avoid it, and making stories and putting people in boxes and thinking we know them when they don't even know themselves. It's all dangerous, and it's not based on truth. So go ahead and, just accept the fact that, yep, you've got a story in your mind of who they are, but unless they've come to this place of self-awareness, then they probably don't even know what they might do. So anyway, I don't say that to scare you. I say that to help you come to reality, to help you take people off of pedestals, to help you see the truth, to help you make peace with the truth, to help you relax around the truth, to help you be able to cope with it, and to not be destroyed by it. Because if you're not ready for it and it blindsides you, it's tough. Well, that's a tough blow. I've had that blow, And it does not feel good, and it takes some time to even know what the heck has happened to you, and get back on your feet, and you'll fight it because you'll just want to rebuild that story. You'll have to grieve it. You'll have to go through a lot of things. But I'm telling you, on the other side is a much better, more truthful, more honest space where both of you can move forward in a place of much less fear and much less expectations on the other person, a lot less pressure. Everybody can live life in a more relaxed way without being afraid the other person's going to leave them or not love them or do something, or you'll just be at peace with who they are. They'll just be at peace with who you are. You'll love each other. You'll be forgiving, you'll be tolerant, you'll be patient, you'll be kind, you'll be all the things that you've learned how to do for yourself. It's time to take your power back. It's time to step up to the plate as your own caretaker. You can do it, you should do it, you must do it if you want a healthy relationship with yourself and with others. Sometimes we would just rather someone else be our caretaker. I did this for most of my marriage. We might want this out of fear or out of mental laziness, and I think it was a little bit of both for me. We may also not like taking responsibility for our life and how we feel. That was me too. If we make someone else responsible for how we feel or making all the decisions, then if something goes wrong, it will be their fault. We will never be to blame. Except we are. We are making them carry all of the responsibility and put out all of the energy. We are expecting them to do a job that we should be doing for ourselves. If this is you, don't beat yourself up. We don't do that anymore. But just realize it. Hard truth time. Hard truths are hard. They're hard pills to swallow. It's not something you want to admit about yourself, but you need to look at it. You need to say, oh yeah, I don't want to be that person, but I think I have been, and I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I'm just going to change it. So if that's you, it's time to change it. Let's find our pedestal people and bring them down to reality. Make a list of the people in your life that you trust them more than you trust yourself. Number 2, believe they are better than you. Number 3, believe they are smarter or more capable. You can also put more successful than you. Number 4, believe they have perfect lives and have it all together at all times. Realize the names you have on this list have the ability to hurt your inner child with their words, their opinions, and their judgments of you, either intentionally or unintentionally. I'm sure most of the names on your list are wonderful people and don't have any negative motives or agenda, and probably don't even know you have them on this pedestal. However, it is important to your confidence growth and the safety of your confidence plant or inner child that you realize they are human. They are not perfect. They are not better than you. Close your eyes and visualize the two of you on a level playing field. One not better or higher than the other, but equal. You are their equal. And your mind might fight you on this, like, oh, no, I'm not. You are. You are both humans. You both have minds that need to be cared for. You are both in a life of learning and challenge. Balance your energy with their energy. Imagine that you can see the energy exchange, however that shows up in your mind. Imagine that you can see it and just notice how much more energy they take up than you do. How much more you've allowed them to take up than you take up. Now balance it. Push their energy back a little bit. And it may not even be them that's doing it. It's probably just your belief about them making it seem like they are taking up more space or putting out more energy. Or it may be a person who actually does like have a very overpowerful, what I've talked about, the solar plexus. But balance your energy. Make it equal. Make it equal with theirs, and refuse to allow your mind to tell you or make you believe that you're not equals, because you are. Okay, that is it for today, and I will see you here for lesson number 7.